information is on the Burlington calendar. I will read the equity statement just to begin the meeting. The educational equity means that every child belongs and receives whatever support he, she, they need to develop his, her, their full academic, emotional, and social potential to learn and thrive every day. This begins with kindness and valuing the humanity of every child or individual. We were supposed to have this meeting last week, but too many people had conflicts. And this week, unfortunately, both Mrs. Bond and Mrs. Masato are away on business. So I'm filling in for the chairman, and it's just the three of us tonight. So the first item on our agenda is the approval of the meeting minutes of February 10th, 2024. And there's a problem, I can't vote on these, I wasn't there. I guess we can have, will two votes do it? Yeah, it will. 2-0-0. Okay, you guys want to do the minutes of 2:10?
Sure. Motion to approve the school committee meeting minutes from February 10th, 2026.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I abstain, so it's 2-0-1. And the meeting minutes of 2/24, 2026.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any question? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's 3-0. Student report. Tell us something fun.
Hello. Our school's been very interesting for this past week. We've had the Spanish exchange students from Spain come to our school right now, so they've been here since last Thursday. They've been in our school since Monday and Tuesday. I've gotten to talk to a few of them. It sounds like they're having like a lot of fun on this trip, and it's like a great cultural experience for everybody. So that's like an all-school experience. And for the seniors, they're still planning our prom May 8th. The tickets are going on sale soon in April. And then for the juniors, they have a True North fundraiser on March 19th during our PD day, a car wash for May 30th, and a rain date for June 6th. And then they also have a school-wide spring baskets, which basically they're going to advertise to parents for Easter and fill in, like, parents can order these baskets, and the baskets will contain like small chocolate eggs and just like small little goodies that they can buy. And the night before Easter, the student would go and set it up in their yards so the kids can have like a little scavenger hunt in the morning of Easter. For the sophomores, they're planning a spring fling dance with the freshmen combined. It's like their semi-formal dance coming up. And then they also have a Chick-fil-A fundraiser. And then the freshmen, they've also been helping the sophomores plan their dance. That's it for now. Thank you.
Wow, sounds like a lot going on. Any questions, comments?
No, just a lot of exciting stuff. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. It's always good. Mr. Rasso, welcome. You're here from Ways and Means,
Thank
I
you.
see.
Yep.
Glad to have you.
Glad to be here.
Okay, the next item is public participation. We can put 15 minutes aside if necessary, maybe not necessary, and comments will be limited to 3 minutes. Is there anyone who wishes to speak? Okay, give us your name and express.
Great. Good evening. My name is Erica Hedrick. I'm the parent of 2 boys at Francis Wyman in 2nd and 5th grade. And our family has been part of the after-school program for the past 6 years. Overall, the experience has been very positive. We've been able to talk to the program director regarding staff changes, communication, and snack options. There's definitely improvements that need to be made, and I'll give you all my comments in email, but today I just wanted to focus on the cost of the after-school program, particularly the vacation weeks and the professional development days. When we first enrolled 6 years ago, there was coverage for the PD days and the school breaks that were included in the tuition. In the 24-25 school year, these have become an additional charge on top of the monthly tuition. So currently we pay $490 per month to attend the program. If there's a sibling discount, the Francis Wyman families are actually paying the same rate as other elementary schools, even though we get out later than other elementary schools and have less time coverage. For February break, there's an additional cost per student of $220, which will go up next year. Importantly, though, families do not receive a prorated tuition for that week that we're not there. However, if we choose to attend for February break, it is an additional cost, so we are in effect paying twice for this vacation week if we choose to attend. For my family this February break, we choose to go to Woburn to avoid the cost and avoid that $400 expense, which I understand was a privilege, and not all families have that privilege. My broader point is that the current structure of the break week fees is pushing families to look elsewhere due to the cost, not the preference. We would like to stay in the program for the breaks. They know the teachers, they know the schools, they know the adults, and we trust them. But because of the cost, we need to look for a different experience. It's just becoming cost prohibitive for the breaks, and it's hard to justify to go to the break versus going on vacations and going somewhere else. I understand that the operating costs have increased and the budgets are really complex, but I would just encourage the committee to consider whether the current fee structure unintentionally shifts the burden onto our families in a way that undermines the program's accessibility and the equity goals of the program. And finally, I just want to mention that the recent changes to the middle school coverage, well, the school committee pushed for communication with the current participating families, which I really appreciated. You didn't look at the needs of the current fifth grade families, and I can tell you there are already some families in the fifth grade that were not aware of the time change until the registration just came out, and it is going to be a burden on their families. Additionally, right now we are signing up for coverage for next year, and we need to make that decision before we've even visited the middle school or have any information about the middle school or their programs, so it's been very difficult. So I appreciate what goes into running the after-school program. I don't have a solution. I don't know any of the budgets, but I just wanted to give you my perspective so you can evaluate decisions in the future. And I have all the costs and dismissal times, and I will email you this. So thank you for listening.
Was one of your issues the time, changing the time at the middle school?
Yeah, so it doesn't affect my family. You know, I have flexibility with that, but I know of at least 2 or 3 other families that they got to work at 5 o'clock, and they work in Lowell, they work in Waltham. So for them to get there at 5:30, I think is going to be a real push for their family. And I know they talked, you know, they were reaching out to current 6th grade families, but I just don't know how many 5th grade families are all gonna have issues with the time change.
Okay, and you will send us those details.
I will send you my full comments. I also have the pricing, so you can see kind of how the pricing has changed for the years. And I mean, it is a great program. We're very happy, but I think just having the perspective of how the breaks is affecting the families is important. So,
Yeah.
great.
Thank you for
Thank you so
bringing it
much.
to us.
Through the chair, Dr.
Go ahead.
Conti, is this something we can put on a future agenda item to discuss? Thank you.
Thank you. Go ahead. Give us your name.
My name is Bryson Toothaker.
I'm
My
sorry,
name is
say-
Bryson Toothaker.
Nice to meet you.
Hi. Today I want to talk about the school lunch at our middle school. The quality of the school lunches are not good. They are not well prepared and do not provide proper nourishment and help us students get through the rest of the day. Students should not be served weeks-old expired milk and chicken that is pink in the middle. The consumption of food that has gone bad and not cooked properly can cause serious health issues. For example, one of my friends was drinking a carton of milk that was a week and a half expired, which caused him to become ill and miss the following day of school. If students receive bad lunches that aren't that aren't cooked properly. They could go without eating lunch, which affects their performance in class, especially if they have a test or a quiz that afternoon. This goes to show the impact of how poor quality school lunches can impact the students and their ability to learn. All students are missing the value of missing valuable and important lessons because of poor school lunches. That's an issue that needs to be addressed. Thank you for your time and attention to this matter.
We will look into that right away
All right, thank you.
and check all the dates for you.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you for coming.
Bryson, nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else? David? Mr. Hannafin?
Hello, I'm David Hannafin. I have kids in high school, middle school, and in Francis Wyman in the district. So I was just wanted to make a couple comments about the last meeting that was online. It was remote. I was watching it, and they went over the results of the school climate survey, which I've spoken about in the past. And one of the things I thought was interesting, and I know Mr. Brooks, I heard you bring it up, and you're the only one that did, that in the middle school, the participation rate was significantly lower than what you guys had hoped for. From what I understand, it was about 30%. So when we had pushed for an opt-in on surveys in the past, the answer we were given was that you can't do an opt-in because it would require too much effort on the part of parents to opt their kids in. As a result, you'd get very low participation, which would then render the results in the survey useless. So last week during the meeting, when she was making her presentation, there was a lot of glowing reviews about the survey and the presentation and the like. And the thing that I kept thinking of was that the term evidence-based was used a number of times during the presentation, but I think the most important evidence to take away from that was that if a full 70% of families made the effort to opt out of that survey, that's the thing that I would have been focusing on more than anything else, is that trust has been broken, and as a result, the vast majority of families decided we're not going to have our kid take that survey. So I do have kids in the middle school, and I know that that day I was told that the cafeteria was full with kids that opted out of the survey. And I know, Dr. Conte, you made a comment last week that the learning doesn't take place unless one feels comfortable in the learning environment. And I think that demonstration of the fact that 70% of families didn't feel comfortable in that learning environment, I think we need to address that. That's something that, that stuck out to me during that presentation last week. So I know that the Castle model, I've talked about the Castle model before as well. That's the social emotional learning model that we use, and that falls into this category of transformative social and emotional learning. And there was some correspondence that was shared with me between the person that made the presentation and some other people talking about this system. And this person that was supposedly instrumental in getting the social and emotional learning curriculum pushed through in Massachusetts had made a comment that the claim was made that this Castle model is the preferred model, and she made it very clear that it was not. So I know that when I had asked about it and I said I had concerns about this Castle model, I was told that, 50 other cities and towns use the same thing. And I said, well, that means that there's more than 300 that don't. So I just wanted to highlight that I think it was kind of brushed over, and that when we talked glowingly about the survey and the presentation, the thing that I think the most important evidence to take away from that was that there was a significant amount of people and families that opted their families out of that survey.
Okay, we'll get specific details on that for the next meeting, because I don't think any of us can remember the details as specifically as you've brought it up, unless Dr. Conte wants to add something at this point.
No, Mr. Hannafin, as always, appreciate your comments, but I'm just trying to make a distinction. I think we only had about 10% of the students opt out, and maybe more families, but families, it was always their choice. It was a voluntary survey for families. So if you're saying we had a low turnout of families, our turnout of families was relatively consistent to prior years and to prior surveys. So again, the conclusion may be that they've lost trust and that's not why they're filling it out. But I don't think we had 70% of our population opt out of the survey. So
I believe that was mentioned. So it said 1/6 of parents participated in the survey, which that I didn't. When I was saying families, I'm saying I opted my kids out. So
yes.
my sixth grader didn't opt herself out. She's unaware.
Understand.
So, but from what I had heard, and
I mean, I guess since I made the comment, if I can jump in, I think it was more digging at how representative the sample size was, because in the elementary school it was basically the population of one out of our elementary schools that was represented. So how much weight does this data carry based on that sample size was really what I was pulling at.
And I think the middle school, what I had heard, and could have misheard it, but I do know that I have heard from teachers in school that the cafeteria was full that day of people that opted out. There was more people that opted out of the survey in the middle school than took it, from what I understand.
You mean students?
Students. Which one? I'm saying families. I'm saying, like I said, my daughter in 6th grade didn't opt herself out. I did it for her, and I have a son in 8th grade.
Again, I think part of that was how the opt-outs were administered. We were being much more careful in terms of pulling the students out of the situation and putting them all together. So probably looked like a lot of students, but from year to year, again, we had about 10% of the students opted out actively. And again, the parental participation was, again, relatively steady. Now, Mr. Brooks, to your point, I think we would say any sort of over 100 per location, we said would be somewhat valid, but we tend not to get 80%, 70% of families responding to any survey if it's voluntary.
I think that 10% opt-out number, that's got to be way off. And it did come up last week. And if I go back, and maybe we can go on YouTube and pull the presentation, but it was way more than 10%.
Well, Mr. Chairman, let me get the numbers. I don't have them memorized right now. And
We'll
then
bring
we
it to
can
you at the next meeting.
Okay.
We can certainly do that, but I do know that the students were centralized for management, and so we did have, is 10% a lot? Yeah, probably too many for my liking, but I didn't see a huge jump. We certainly didn't have 70% of the students opt out, so I think, let me just get the numbers and we can go through it, but we do look at who's participating, and I think it's important that we ask for feedback. So, I mean, I think that's kind of important, so
We'll bring it up again.
let me get you the numbers.
Give you the information.
There was another incident that was mentioned by one of the parents that had called in, and they were saying there was an incident where a kid showed up at school. There's no hat policy, I guess, at the middle school, but some kid showed up with a hat on that said, "Make America Great Again," and the teacher told him, "Take it off, I don't want to see it on here again," and then later on in the day addressed the kid and told the kid was disgusting. So, you know, there's no secret, I'm conservative. This teacher's obviously liberal, but that is just a campaign slogan for the duly elected president of the United States. And if a teacher feels comfortable addressing a kid that way, you know, I'm on the right. But if I saw someone in school and I was a teacher and they had a Hope and Change hat on that was Barack Obama's campaign slogan, I would never dream to tell the kid to take it off, nor would I follow up and tell the kid he was disgusting.
And we get
So-
that.
I think the middle school did a great job with that situation, and I think it's been addressed to both the student, the family, the educator, and it was not let go or anything like that, so it was addressed right away. So-
I mentioned it just because I've spoken before about the overall tenor in the school. You know, there's a left-leaning tenor to the school district, and it's a concern to a lot of parents, and so I just wanted to make sure that it was brought up, and I understand that it was addressed, but I see no chance that would ever happen the other way around. So.
Well, I can't answer a negative, so I understand. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else? Anyone online, Bob? No? Okay, good. We can move on. And the next item on our agenda, information and reports, subcommittee reports.
Just a couple of quick announcements.
Sure.
I'd like to announce the bid will be closing out at the end of the week for Marshall Simon, so we should hopefully have some clarity here at the end of the week as to how we're going to move forward. Obviously, weather conditions permitting, right? So the bid's almost done. We should be good to start moving here in a week, and we'll resume meetings as the Marshall Simons Field Committee once that occurs, and then kind of finish work and close out to get the project done. I'd also like to congratulate our recreation staff, Kelly Lehman, Emma Andrus, Ava Burbridge, and the department all won awards. So Kelly Lehman won the Community Professional of the Year, Emma Andrus won the Therapeutic Recreation Award, and the Ava won the MRPA Outstanding Student Award. So lots of things happening, and also shout out to the BHS student athletes for a great winter season. Came close in a lot of arenas, but great season overall.
That was a great season. Bob?
Please, through the chair, if I could just chime in. The bidding starts this week. Okay, and then we'll run for a few weeks, and then, so we won't have data at the end of this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And again, through the chair, Mr. Brooks, not specific content, but my understanding is also there was another district school safety
Correct.
meeting as well. So, again, continuing our partnership with the Burlington Police Department.
Okay, does anyone else have subcommittee reports? Does Ways and Means have anything for us?
No, not at this time.
Okay. Any other announcements?
No, we are very fortunate to have Mr. Hart online tonight, so if he wants to address any of the specific accomplishments of sports teams, we have the right person to ask, along with Mr. Sullivan.
Got anything to say, Mr. Hart?
It's a loaded question.
He's muted. No. Well, while he's revving up here, I just want to say what Jeremy said, that the sports teams had a great winter, and the hockey team came so close. It was just fabulous to see them reach those heights.
Our boys varsity basketball team as well.
Yes,
Yeah.
and girls hockey.
There's too many to name, which is a great thing.
I
Great
know.
problem to have.
It is.
Congratulations to everyone.
Sean, can you try again talking?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I apologize. So again, I heard your guys' comments, and it was a great winter for us. I can tell you that every team this winter qualified for the state tournament in every sport,
That's great.
which was fantastic. And obviously, I know that basketball and hockey had the deepest runs, but again, we had some phenomenal records that were broken this year. We had 2 wrestlers place in the States, took first place in the States, went on to the New Englands. It's the first time since 20, I believe, that we've had a winning season. About 30 young men and women on our wrestling team, which was really a big turnaround for us. Every year we have a tremendous men's and women's track team. So again, they compete deep into the season. We sent 15 kids to the States, both boys and girls, for very deep runs. So again, we had such a tremendous opportunity for these kids to continue to compete, and it didn't end. It never sometimes ends the way you wish it did. But I think that if you were at any of those games, which a lot of you were, the building was full. There was excitement in the air. It was just an amazing time to be a Burlington High School student athlete and a fan.
It certainly was. Anyone else have any comments?
I have 2 quick announcements. One, just to let you know that the summer enrichment program, A Parent Square, went out for that. I know that some parents were wondering as to when that would be coming out. That's come out recently. And also want to give a shout out to Mr. Joe Adebato, who actually will be putting this out on Parent Square, that he's going to be hosting at 9 a.m. on April 8th, a parent breakfast, and it's going to be understanding how support services work at the college level. And he's going to have various folks from Salem State University, the speech and language pathologist from the SAIL program coordinator from Curry College, the assistant director of students accessibility services, the College of the Holy Cross, and also the Middlesex Community College, who is the assistant dean of student support services, all coming to speak to share with parents that how do you receive support services if your child needs it going to the college level. So I encourage parents to attend these breakfasts. These breakfasts have been very well attended and have been very informative for parents in high school wanting to know more about what's in the high school and for the future of their students who are graduating.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chen. Moving on. Learning, Equity, and Thriving, School Choice 2026-27.
Again, thank you, Madam
First
Chair. This
reading.
is a first reading, so no votes expected. I just wanted you all to know that it's coming. We need to have a public hearing for school choice. It'll be at a future meeting. It depends on the length of the agenda, honestly, for next meeting. We're not asking for any changes, just the same, and it actually ends up being a negative vote, so you're going to need to say that we don't accept choice, sort of K-8, and that we will accept choice, again, in the limited capacity that we've outlined. 10 freshmen, 5 in grade 10, 5 in grade 11, and 5 in grade 12. It just gives us some flexibility at the high school where we have some room, and once a child is accepted in choice, we have to see that child through graduation. So again, Mark manages the program very closely. Mark, is that your hand raised, or no? You're just adjusting?
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm trying to keep my dog off the table. Sorry.
Oh.
We want to see the dog.
No, you don't.
So,
You have anything to
again,
say?
Mark, no changes in school choice you're requesting for next year?
Yeah, so the same as we've done in the past, 10, 5, 5, 5. And I think you mentioned, Eric, that Dr. Conti, that the program has been successful for us over the last dozen or so years we've been doing it. So I would
17.
advocate that we continue to do so. 17 years? Well, yeah. Long time.
All right, so this is the first reading, and we'll do the public hearing at maybe the next meeting. Okay. All right, anyone have any questions about that? No, moving on. School climate survey follow-up and discussion, we just had a little bit of that.
Again, we just wanted to treat the school climate survey like a first and second reading. There's a lot of information, so wanted to give you all a chance to do that. If there's information that you want to ask that we can answer, we'll happily answer them. If you want it to make a point of a future sort of agenda item, we can do that as well. But the data in the survey has been posted publicly. And again, obviously we have stuff that we can things that we can learn from, and I know I owe Mr. Hannafin an exact answer on the number of
The next meeting.
students who opted out at the next meeting. But again, I think that looking at safety, which is a big part of this, that a lot of high percentage of our families and students feel safe in school and safe going to school, and I think that's important feedback for us to get. We put a lot of effort into student safety, and I'm happy to see that that's reflected in some of the feedback that we are getting.
Any questions or comments at this time?
Through the chair, yeah, I had requested at our last meeting, when the next time we have a full discussion about the climate survey, the differences between the elementary schools and how each elementary school responded, whether it be parents and students, to see if we have any gaps or big differences.
We're working on separating that out, and we'll have those conversations.
Thank you.
Okay. I thought it was very interesting. I think gathering a large enough group of families that will take the time to respond is something we might have to work on, because when they see a questionnaire and it's kind of long, they kind of go, move on. But we can talk about it in the future, too. Okay. Screening, brief intervention and referral, SBIRT discussion.
Yes,
Lisa's going to, again, I'm sorry, Dr. Chen is going to get
No, it's
into
okay.
this. This is going to be, again, this is going to be questions that we are required to ask students, and Lisa will get into the details.
Okay, so first of all, I just wanted you to know, Title 12, Chapter 71, Section 97, by the state statutes, we are required by law to give a verbal screening tool for students or substance abuse disorders. And the way the statute is written is that a pupil or the pupil's parent or guardian may opt out of the screening, and you can even opt out at any time prior to or during the screening. And I know for a fact that the school guidance counselors who do these screenings one-on-one, that you even ask the question, even if the parent had chosen not to opt out, you ask the child, would you like to opt out? If the child says, yes, I want to opt out, they don't even participate in this screening. And it is all, school counselors have been trained before they can even ask these questions. It takes no more between 3 to 5 minutes, if not less, because it depends on how you answer the first couple of questions. So if the answer is no, 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 then it's going to take like 1 minute. For the high school, it is done during the flex period. For the middle school, it's done during the health classes. Again, it's done individually. There are no recorded answers. There's no written record of the screening that includes information that specifically identifies any student. Everything is kept as confidential. And then the tally is given to the nurses, who then submit this report to the state because it's required to by the state. So I just wanted to make sure that all questions were as clear as possible, that this is not a screening, that it is required by the state.
Okay, it's required by the state, and parents can opt out, children can opt out in the moment. And it can, at any point in time, do we get to see what the questions are?
Yes, the questions will be posted, and the questions are in fact in your packet.
Okay, so anyone can see them, they can look them up. Where do they find them?
They're gonna, because this is a discussion, we'll bring it to a vote the next time. It will be posted on our website where our surveys and screenings are.
Okay, is there more specificity to find that spot on the website?
It is literally, and I'm sorry that I don't have it in front of my brain, but when you go into the website where it says under students and families, there's a thing that says surveys, and you click on that link, and it's a beautiful web page of all the surveys that we give. And it even gives a nice little definition, and then you click on it, and then it lists all the questions.
And all the questions will be on there?
Every single question's on there, just like the thing like we did with the Naviance with Joe Adebato.
Yep.
All those questions are on there.
Okay, questions? Good, Jeremy?
Yep.
Okay, I guess we can move on then. BPS Thrives update.
Yes. This is the BPS Thrives update. Thank you, Mr. Kuna. Before we begin the slideshow, I wanted to share with you that much has occurred each month with our BPS teams that are all focused and working towards our goals in the BPS strategic plan. For more information on each team's progress, please see the BPS website. Under district, scroll to BPS Thrives and click. Now for our slides. In slide 1, we have Principal John Lyons from Pine Glen. He's celebrating the 100th day of K for kindergartens. He's dressed up as the evil villain, Dr. Double Digits. And also at the same time, just wanted you to know, 3 weeks from now, all kindergartens will receive their little baby chicks. They're coming soon in 3 weeks. They're all going into the little eggs, are in the incubator right now, and then 3 weeks they'll hatch, and then all kindergartens are going to see their little beep chicks. Also, the town band concert, which again, it was well attended. Thank you to the Director of Fine and Performing Arts, John Middleton Cox, and for our Fine and Performing Arts teacher. Next slide, please. We are continuing on with the MTSS Academic Task Force, which is comprised of teachers, instructional coaches, directors, and administrators. We are continuing on our work on revising our MTSS process. The admin team and department heads have also been receiving professional development from Dr. Alan Bloom on effective co-teaching models, and the UBD Task Force continues their work on developing common formative assessments across vertically aligned all the way from first grade to 12th grade. Next slide, please. Again, a great big thanks to John Middleton Cox and to Principal Mark Sullivan for bringing the official course of the U.S. Navy Band called the Sea Chanters to our BHS students for an optional assembly as they performed their talents to our students in honor of the 250th birthday of the United States. And we do have recruiters from all of the armed forces who contact us to meet with our high school students. The next slide, please. A great big thanks to Shireen Tyrell, who is the Director of Career Pathways, who coordinated a STEM event for students at the middle school in partnership with a science teacher, Mr. Marino, who organized and taught by the girls in the STEM club. Students learned about chemistry, biology, and physics and 3 hands-on stations. And just today, Ms. Shireen Tyrell hosted a career event for girls in the STEM in the BHS library. Next slide, please. Thanks to Dennis Villano, who is the Director of Technology Integration in the Memorial Library, for hosting Officer Dom Calicchio with a presentation on cyber safety. And also the MSMS Middle School Library team also celebrated Read Across America Week with a Don't Break the Chain reading activity. The next slide, please. Under the direction of English Learner Team Director Carrie Lamprey, here's Ms. Camara, guides 2 Fox Hill first grade students through an Arctic habitat lesson during morning arrival. And also thanks to the director of the Science Center, Wendy Palvacek, for the maple sugaring classes are underway for second graders, and this is in correspondence in both an enhancement and connection of science with Amplify CKLA, which is the Cycles and Natures unit. Next slide, please. With the Family and Engagement team with Director Gloria Watasic, we continue our strong partnership with Help Us, helping families and supporting kindness initiatives throughout the district. And thank you to Director Alternative Education Jill Graham, who hosted a BPS Alternative Pathways Working Group. Folks visited us from across the state to the Burlington High School Day Academy and the Evening Academy as we continue to support alternative pathways across the state. And just so that you know, the Kindness Initiative is underway across the district thanks to Gloria Watasic and Director of Mental Health, Chrissy Concession. And just today, Principal Nicole McDonald and Assistant Principal Daryl Dorian did a school-wide assembly of Chains of Kindness celebration. Each of the chains are kindness that our students have performed at Francis Wyman, and also students wrote letters to their teachers, and those letters were presented to the teachers of how they have helped their children, how they have helped their students learn, and what in particular they helped their students learn. And next, in our final slides, many thanks to the BPS Fire and Police Departments for participating in the Unified Basketball Games, and congratulations to both our students and our coaches, Dr. Bonnie Nichols and Sean Hart. I do have to put in an extra shout out to my girl, Dr. Bonnie Nichols, who through her spectacular coaching skills took down Coach Sean Hart. That's right, Dr. Bonnie Nichols, her team just crushed Coach Sean Hart's team. Must be the coaching skills. Thank you very much.
All right. Any comments? No video of
Several.
that? Don't we get a video of that, Lisa?
Yes, I think we can muster a video. Again, Dr. Bonnie Nichols excelled in her coaching abilities.
There you go.
Yeah, I think that's something that should go on the website too, if you do have the video.
Definitely. Mark's laughing. Anything before we move on? No? Okay. Thank you, Lisa. Finance and facility, backwards, facilities and finance. Finance report, Nicole.
Yes, thank you. No concerns at this time, no significant changes over the last month, so unless there's any questions, I don't really have much more to say on
You
it.
certainly sent us a lot of pages today.
I did.
Yesterday, yes. So we had a lot to look at. Anyone have any questions? Ways and Means? No? Jeremy?
Just a follow-up for the questions I emailed. Is that enrollment pressure driving the cost for the teacher aides? Is that captured in this year's budget for that unexpected need for the extra? Okay, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we would try to incorporate the fluctuation that we saw into this year's budget, and then honestly, something else will change, and then we'll try to incorporate that in as well.
We're just running a couple deficits. I just had a question on it.
Yeah.
But Nicole's able to answer it.
I've got so many pages here, I just lost my agenda. Here it is. All right, if there are no questions on the finance report, which surprises me, but it was all good, everything was in line, you're happy with it?
Yes.
Okay.
We're tracking well towards the end of the year, which is the important thing.
Okay, FY27 budget session.
Before I turn it over to Nicole, I just want to thank Nicole and her staff. Tremendous amount of effort goes into providing the detail that we provide, and and I think we all have experienced even the month-to-month reports that we get, that just takes a lot of time. So Nicole, thank you for your office and everyone who contributes to that. And we're going about things a little bit differently this year, and Nicole sort of can explain that. We did ask every cost center leader to put forth a budget. You'll see that budget. We also asked them for additional positions that they may be asking for that you're used to. And typically what we've done, Ms. Gresso, you participated, we end up taking out all the new, the additional positions that are requested. So this year, we sort of did that ahead of time. You'll get to see all the requested positions, but under the guidelines we've been provided, we just skipped a step because it really didn't make sense.
Because you can't afford them?
Because we can't afford them. So Nicole will explain sort of where we're at and where we have to get to. So thank you, Nicole.
Thanks. So the FY27 superintendent's budget's coming in at 4.71% increase currently. Guideline discussions with town for next fiscal year was set at a 4.25% increase on operating. So this means that we need to reduce by approximately $308,000 to meet that 4.25 target. In prior years, as Dr. Conti mentioned, we have included all of those additional positions in that number presented to the committee, but we're not including those there. But on the last two pages, which I think is 227 and 228, you'll see the listing of those positions that were requested and the rationales for them. And of course, as the departments come before the committee, they can advocate and discuss their needs too. For department expense budgets, we requested for departments to level service their budgets for FY27, meaning to sort of request increase in costs, actual costs of what they're currently operating, but not necessarily additional goods and services. But there are a few exceptions in there, such as the lease payment for technology needs and those sort of things. And then a few changes made to the format this year to assist in reviewing the expense budgets. We have highlighted each of the items, each of like the detail item requests. So everything highlighted in green is a new ask, yellow is an increase from the prior year, blue, the requests stayed the same, and red was a decrease from the prior year. There was some feedback in the past couple of years, I think, from committee members, Ways and Means, even town meeting members, being like, well, we don't know like what was requested prior year. We're having to toggle back and forth between the prior year's request and this one. So we sort of made those changes to sort of help everyone and users more readily identify those changes in each of the budget lines as you're reviewing. So we hope that that's useful and welcome any other feedback along the way. Also, I want to make sure that I recognize Liz Mullen-Montes, our analyst, for all of that additional work that she put in implementing that, and then all of the work that she puts into the budget process anyways. And then just a few sort of housekeeping things. So now that the budget's been presented as a public document, we'll have it up on the website this week, ideally tomorrow. And we're still working with the Education Subcommittee for Ways and Means to schedule our additional reviews So we're working on that. We've been in contact with Chris Campbell to get those nailed down. So if we want to jump into budgets, if we're ready.
Sure.
And then,
Can I ask a question? With that guideline, it was 4.25, 4.2, how much of that is automatically taken up by salary increases, steps and lanes and already agreed to contract negotiations?
I'd have to nail down like a firm number for you, but
Close,
a good portion
ballpark.
of it. I'd say probably 3.2 of the 425.
And how much is the salary increase for next year? Just the negotiated amount?
COLA is 3.5.
Yeah, it's 3.5.
3.5, yes.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions?
Right now.
And also, I provided you guys with like a little handout so you can follow along tonight with the page numbers and the increase for all the departments that are
Thanks.
presenting. So do we want to take them in order, or
Guess so.
did you have other plans? Okay. So if we start out with BHS, and Bob's going to bring up so everyone can see. BHS, starting on page 71, a budget increase of $10,555 or 4%. I believe we have Mr. Sullivan online.
Yes, I'm here.
Sort of the main increases were in the principal's office contracted services. I think there were some, the student pass that securely, the virtual pass system, we've added onto budget, some junior book awards, and some classroom shades.
This is all on 7?
On page 71?
Oh, 71, okay. Not finding it on page 7. Go ahead, Nicole, don't wait for me.
Okay.
Got it.
Mark, is there anything that you wanted to highlight from your budget?
No, I think you mentioned the first couple of things. I think there were 7 or 8 line items that constituted the increase. A maintenance fee for our vape detectors in our bathrooms, a maintenance fee for a folding machine in the main office that we took from the student information office. Like you said, money for our junior book awards to run that annual award ceremony every year, money to buy student parking passes, things of that nature.
Megan has a question.
Thank you. I see that under social studies, there's no need for textbooks this year. I'm glad to see that there are textbooks being purchased for other classes like business, language arts, world language, math, science. Is this just because we simply bought as much as we needed last year?
Yeah, so we other than the math department that bought new textbooks a few years ago, we are just supplementing existing sets at this point. So no textbooks in the social studies department means that they just have no need to supplement any of their existing sets.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Jeremy, you got anything?
Good right now. Thanks.
Okay, go ahead, Nicole.
Okay, so if we move on to the next, in-service curriculum, which is on page 34, the increase here was $51,624, or a 6.05% increase. We had a lot of changes here. I think one of the first to note is our translations. We're reducing that budget by around $50,000. I guess this is attributed to a few things. So we're using the translation service a little bit less because Parent Square sort of has some function built in where we can rely on those translations to get messages to families, which is great because that's sort of embedded in our cost in Parent Square, whereas going through the other route was an additional cost, usually per minute. And then the anticipated need of the larger documents that have been translated in full, we don't anticipate the magnitude of that going forward. It would just be like any updates. I think those were like our student handbooks and those sort of things. So as we make changes to those, we'd just have to implement the changes instead of retranslating the whole document itself, which would help on cost. So
Because what we had done is, one of the things is we had consolidated, we had originally 4 different elementary handbooks, and then we consolidated and made one elementary handbook, and so that the whole thing needed to be translated.
on professional development under in-service curriculum, we had some memberships like Facing History that just had some increases. For conferences and outside PD, this has sort of been like a couple of years of restructuring to bring it sort of all under Lisa's department. So sort of pulling some of these out of the other places that they live here and there, so that Lisa's able to sort of oversee and make sure that everyone's getting equitable PD and attending conferences sort of that they need across the district. And then for materials and supplies, I think there was some Bluetooth clickers for CKLA and some refreshments and lunch for professional development, which was increased in cost there also. So we're up a little bit there, but also some of these conferences and outside PD were pulled from other budgets over the past 2 years. So, Lisa, did you have anything to add?
No, all I was going to say is I really wanted to thank Nicole with helping me with this, because I think one of the things is it may look a lot, but again, as Nicole has said, or Mrs. Kasha has said, they live in other budgets, so we're pulling those dollars and putting them into my budget so I can streamline all the professional development and have a clear understanding so everything's going in one direction. So it looks like a lot, but we've been working through this process.
Mr. Rasso, if you have any questions, let me know.
Yeah, I will. I haven't actually had a chance to review the budget because we just got it later in the week, so.
But I mean, if anything you hear tonight you want to ask about, just let me know.
Definitely, thank you.
Okay, moving on to literacy, which is on page 42. A very minimal increase of $296, which was just attributed by a membership increase and some CKLA support materials. Elementary math on page 45 was level funded, no increase, no changes in budget requests. Elementary social studies on 48 was a decrease of $686.
Why?
That one. On page 48. It looks like
Was.
Is it because it's been pulled into the reading literacy program?
I'd have to go back and look at that one.
All right, no rush. Let me know sometime.
Okay. And then next up is music, which begins on page 96. This budget has an $18,000 increase, which is 18.73%. And there's a bunch of different lines here that have the detail for the increase for middle school contracted services. There are additional expenses requested for the middle school musical, for the high school contracted, additional expenses for the spring musical and the fall play, and also requesting an additional play. Under system-wide contracted, requesting a new copy machine, and additional expenses for all-town concerts. Under middle school supplies, an increase to the instrument and choral awards over prior year, and elementary supplies, classroom materials are up $400. And I think we have Mr. Middleton here tonight.
Yeah, do you want to speak to this? Nice to see you, Mr. Middleton.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good to be seen. It was great to see you at the concert, some of you this week.
It was excellent, both were.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Always is.
And we have our All Town Strings the following Wednesday, and tomorrow night is the high school festival concert, so just keep on going.
Next year, don't have any of them on school committee Tuesdays, please.
Absolutely. All right, very good. I'll make a note. I did thank you, Nicole, to highlighting of the changes, and I have some more detail. I made copies and I shared with Bob. If you'd like, I'm happy to pass those around. They were basically, I can summarize them in 4 things I think were the big things I want to highlight was, in the past years at the high school, we've done a fall play, which is it's been a full-length play. Some years we've done a festival competition one-act play. And so the directors and the students would like to do both. So they were asking, so that's what $6,520 would be to do an additional production. So a one-act play festival is usually at the beginning of March, and it's through the Massachusetts Educational Theater Guild, METG. And then in addition to that, we would do a full-length play in the fall for the students, which was something we did this year. We did the Crucible this year, a full-length play. The copy machine we have now was purchased in 2013. It's copied over 400,000 copies. They no longer make parts, so it's hard to, we can't service. We are down to 1 working drawer, so if, that's $4,861 for that expense. And then as Nicole was mentioning, or excuse me, Ms. Kasha was mentioning, there's some additional costs for police detail and chair rental for the all-town concerts that we provide that just weren't in the budget, and so this will help. That does constitute an increase. And then there's a couple other things just while I'm here. We are asking additional stipends. So right now we have a winter guard and a winter percussion program that are competitive, and I have the enrollment numbers I can share with you, but they have increased double or triple in size in the last few years. And so right now there's only 1 advisor or director per group, and we're asking for additional staff to support the enrollment increase on those. And I know that Dr. Chen was also, and Mr. Sullivan have been in support of our BHS string orchestra director. Currently, we're in the 3rd year of the stipend, so we want to have that established and approved officially for Mrs. Holmgren, who's been doing that now. So I have the paper I can pass around if you'd like to see the information.
Any questions to Mr. Middleton Cox? Nobody's questioning you.
Oh.
I want to hear that piano, though. Haven't heard it in a while.
Tomorrow night?
All right.
I have a question about the copier. Are we normally purchasing those, or are we renting them, or how do we operate with all of our other copy machines?
For the most part, we do a 3-year lease.
Okay. So I don't know how that would compare to the request in this budget, but would we be able to do cost analysis of whether or not we should be moved to that model for this department, or whether or not we should continue to purchase?
Yeah, we can look into that.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I forgot, I also included one other thing. I understand that the warrant article process is shifting priorities, but Mr. Kuna and I had been discussing performing arts improvements in the warrant article. So I prepared a quote. One of the priorities for me is the high school wireless microphone system that is used for the musicals, it's used for town meetings, it's used for many, many events, and the Audio-Technica brand microphone that we have is no longer made, it's no longer serviced, they don't make parts for them, so as they're starting to fail, we're really scrambling to maintain the system. So I did work with High Output, and I included that estimate in here. For $54,000, so that's, again, normally we were expecting to come under warrant, but, you know, I understand this is about the operating budget, so I just thought I'd throw that in there, so, thank you.
Anyone have anything to ask? If not, thank you. Thanks for
right.
being here.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving along. Next up, we had guidance, which is on page 106, a small increase of $800 or 2.72%. And that, I think, was mainly due to we changed from SCORE to Naviance, and there was an increase in the cost of that. And do we have Mr. Adubato online?
Yeah, the price differential from SCORE to Naviance was not actually that huge of a difference. So we replaced Naviance. We're replacing actually two programs with Naviance. And Naviance is a little higher the first year because we're going to roll it out with some professional development. And then my other increases were PSAT exams, some of the trainings we do with Aspen, and some equipment increases as well. So overall, it was an increase, but I think most of it was needed increases.
Thanks, Joe.
Anything else on that?
No, nothing additional.
Anyone
on
have any
guidance.
questions? No.
So next up, we have athletics, which is on page 119. This budget increase is $11,638 or 4%. We had increase in official costs again this year. Video storage costs for Huddle, which I think is for tapes for athletes, and a new EMT physician requirement, and then some increases just in overall supplies. And is Mr. Hart still online?
So what was the increase?
The total, $11,638.
The increase, 4%, did you say?
4%, yes.
Okay.
John?
No one has any questions, no?
No, but to Megan's earlier question, looks like there's a cost comparison there for the copier.
Mr. Hart, are you online?
Your lease.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Depends on who they're getting.
Yeah.
What the needs are.
The increase you're asking for, do you want to provide some color and some detail?
Sure. Last couple of years, increase in officials in the state. It's a state requirement. The MIAA sends out what the officials' fees will be, and I think we talked about this last year. There's going to be an increase each of the next now 2 years. So we're just increasing to go along with what the state has required to pay those workers. As far as our huddle and our focus cameras, we are, Mr. Brooks talked about it earlier with our increase in Marshall Simons and doing our new fields. I'm preparing to equip them with the same video capability that we have at Varsity Field and Brush Field now. So you see that increase there. I guess a really good problem for us to have, as we talked about with the winter we have, is we are playing much longer. We are being seeded much higher because our teams are doing very well, and we're having more home games. So building in some money there for recreation for our spring and fall teams, because we've done so well, our increase in that upkeep has mattered. So we've made some changes there. And then there is a state requirement. It is still being, I think, I don't want to say fought, it's not the right word, but there's being a lot of discussion at the State House where they have required an EMT or physician to be at every football game now in the state of Massachusetts. So I think with that, I have built in that cost for us for next year. And that is a cost that we came up with by talking to EMTs and a couple of physicians to try and figure out what that dollar amount will be. And that's our best guesstimate to what it will take to get us through the next football season.
You guys have any questions?
No, just, I mean, is there a way to actually quote out the contracted service for an EMT for a detail, much like the police or fire would be my only question, but it didn't sound like there was anything available based on your briefing.
The problem right now, Mr. Brooks, is that, again, because they're going back and forth between EMT and doctor, you can clearly see the difference in the cost would be there. And they haven't come forward and said it must be EMT or it must be doctor. And I think that's going to clear itself up over the next month.
Okay.
Sean, who makes that decision?
Who makes the decision on the EMT or the doctor?
Yeah.
The state legislature, I'm guessing.
Okay. And prior to next season, have we had EMTs at all?
We have not had, again, we are very lucky here in Burlington, thanks to the school committee and our administration, having 2 certified athletic trainers. Again, we have more coverage that I would venture to say most high schools do. Again, and with that, we thought that requirement was going to satisfy this. And then when the state ruling came out that they wanted to up it, and I believe we had this, again, conversation last year. You remember the story from Sharon that we talked about at the end of last year.
Right.
I think that has had a lot to do with the ability in having somebody that can treat some kind of traumatic injury immediately, where right now, currently, our 2 trainers, our staff would be a 911 call, and we would have that dealt with immediately. So I think the state is trying to up the ante, if you will, on what their response is going to be.
Do we have defibrillators at every game?
Every game.
Okay, this is just my opinion, but I hope they decide to go forward with this. I think we should have someone like that at every game, either an EMT or a physician. But that's just my opinion, so you won't find any disagreement on the cost from me.
No, we're very lucky. Again, such great community, again, with Burlington Fire and Burlington Police. Again, I think we're so supported in athletics by those organizations that even when we don't have, I think we kind of feel like we do, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I get it. Thank you.
Through the chair, is this an unfunded mandate, or is this, will there be any funding from the states to support this requirement, which I think is again, as Mrs. Monaco said, an important adjustment?
I will tell you that nothing I have read or seen says that the state will be paying for any of it.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair? Sean, would you just take a couple minutes to repeat the conversation that you and I had about uniforms? Because it was kind of shocking for me.
We had this a little bit. I think everybody is having the same point. Everybody's making the same arguments that costs are increasing and money is staying the same. We've heard this before. Ms. Kosher and I have been going back and forth all week. She's been great with trying to help us accommodate, buying uniforms. And again, last year with my equipment budget, we made some amendments to that. The school committee was very generous at helping us bring that up to speed. Again, we've added a couple of sports now, and we've had some great success there. And as far as just average costs, again, and Dr. Conti and I were speaking of this the other day, we buy an average of 4 to 5 uniforms a year. It's a 5-year rotation. Most of the time, we try and get people in and out in 5 years. Sometimes you can go a year longer, and sometimes you can't. But again, right now, we're currently looking at football uniforms for 65 football players for next year. in the past, we had two home uniforms, a home uniform and an away uniform, 2 pairs of pants to match. And this year, we're quoting out at between $21,000 and $30,000 for 65 uniforms.
Yeah.
So when you look at that money compared to my total equipment budget, to pull that 35, that 30, and that's a decent uniform. That's not the highest end. It's not the lowest end. I think we try and go out and find something of quality. And again, it's just, this is a problem that we're facing everywhere. Costs are up everywhere, but I think it's just important to recognize. And next year, we're going to be looking at hockey jerseys, which we have, again, home and away jerseys. And right now, they're about $225 a jersey. So again, it's coping with some of those bigger purchases that we've been trying to handle.
Is that built into this budget request?
The way the budget will work now, no, because the uniforms are going to be ordered this year. So we've built in some safety between revolving and some money that we have left in our equipment budget this year to try and see if we can work that out. But Ms. Kosher and I have been trying to figure out where we're going to scrape and pull some pennies from.
Sounds like work.
Again, my point was, for a team to cycle through a uniform in the past, again, football would be the more expensive, might have been $8,000 to $10,000, and now if it's $30,000, it's a significant impact. So,
I have one more follow-up question. Are reversible jerseys more cost-effective?
It's cost effective, yes. We would destroy a set of reversible jerseys probably in a season.
Okay, so the quality isn't there to match the cost savings. Okay, thank you.
And even we use them for practice, and because we can go through them, and buy enough of them to have them at practices. But in a game scenario, we're just too much wear and tear to do that.
Thank you.
Jeremy, anything?
No, just
You're good?
thinking.
Thanks, Sean, for your input.
Thanks, everybody.
Next up, we have PE and Health, which is on page 124. Again, a small increase on this budget of $312 or 0.78%. And this was from the first aid certifications for students. That's all for PE and Health. Then for Science Center, which is on page 139.
One second, can you go back?
Yes.
And this is a little bit unrelated, but Lisa, you're working, I believe, currently on the standards for PE and Health?
Yes, I'm going through the Wellness Committee.
Yeah.
We've gotten through some recommendations for 6 through 8, but we're still in that process.
So is that like a year or 2 years? How long will it take to actually develop those?
So it's not developing. They've already come out. What we're doing is we're going through the committee, and we're looking at the ones that have been recommended by our PE and Health Department. And through the Wellness Committee, we're looking at the differences between the 1999 versus the 2023 standards. We've gotten through pre-K through 2. I think there may be a question that we're going to raise back. We've gotten through 3 through 5. There's a question that needs to be raised back, and we're going to look for clarification on that. And then we're partially halfway in 6 through 8. And then from there, we're going to have to do 9 through 12. And then our hope really is to get through all the standards to provide you with a recommendation to go before the school committee and to go through that process with you for you guys to say yes or no, we approve of these standards. And we're hoping to do the wellness policy as well too this year.
So a year away? When do you think you'll actually get to bring it to this committee?
This year.
This year?
Yes, that's our goal.
Okay, and there's no financial addition from that?
No, what's been added is in a different bucket, and that's going to be the curriculum writing that would be involved and everything like that.
Okay.
And so that's what would be involved.
Thank you.
But, I want to say a but, if they decide instead of doing like a teacher-made curriculum or anything like that, then we would go through a curriculum adoption process, but that would still be more than a year out.
Got it. Okay, thanks. Anyone else? No? Nicole?
Okay, next up, Science Center on page 139, an increase of $1,950, a 7.39% increase. For this, Wendy has expressed that the vet care and some of the bedding and the food for the animals has increased in cost. And then also, she's reworking some of the science enhancement materials with the CKLA curriculum. And then also there was an increase on the chick hatching eggs and supplies.
Boy, cost of everything, right?
Yeah. But in years past, Wendy's usually been pretty level funded. And then finally, we have art on page 142 with a 0% increase and no change.
Perfect. Anybody? Questions on anything that we've covered? No?
Mr. Sullivan, any last words?
No, just wanted to thank the committee, as always, for the support for all of our departments, including counseling and athletics and Mr. Middleton Cox's music department that are here with us tonight. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you. Making all this happen. Okay, are we set on the budget? Should we move on, or?
Set on this, excuse me, Madam Chair, set on this part of the budget, this portion, and again, we are...
If no one has any questions, we can go to warrant articles.
We can go to warrant articles. And Bob, if we're going to start at the end first, the expectation of the committee for warrant articles is that there would be a vote of the committee to approve our warrant article recommendations that are within the budget guideline that we have been provided. So just so you all know, this is sort of the shift when it becomes sort of the superintendent's recommendation to the school committee's recommendation. Bob already has background, the capital budget. Bob, you've already shared the background with different town committees, but obviously if the school committee wants to make a change, we will incorporate that change into our recommendation.
We want votes tonight?
On the warrant articles as a sort of as a whole package, we need to start moving forward with the other committees that are going to review them.
As a whole package. We never have it as a whole package.
No, all the warrant articles you're going to vote on individually, but we need to move the warrant articles from the administrative warrant articles to the school committee warrant articles this evening. So.
All right. This is a slightly different format. Is this what we're looking at? All right, you want to send it to me? All right, Bob, you want to take this?
Sure. Everything on this slide you have seen before, so this is not an introduction. Through the recommendations of this committee, also working with department heads, Dr. Conti, et cetera, we have reduced some of the items to get down to the guideline number. Also, recently at our last meeting, we discussed that we also pulled the funding request for the memorial generator. So there's a reduction there of approximately $92,000 from this request, as well, because we needed to fund that now instead of waiting until July to fund that project. So what you see here, as Dr. Conti just mentioned to you, the town gave a guideline of $2.8 million. You're seeing $2,557,000 $276, and in addition to that, there is $74,783 request for system-wide community custodial. We have always put that one separate because that's a joint town school request. Again, unless this committee has any different guidance, that's listed separately, and that's how that would be presented. But if I had to go through these one by one, these have been provided in a prioritized list. So the first one that you will see is the system-wide curriculum. Again, Dr. Chen can assist if need be. There has been a backup. I'm not sure if you guys have it in front of you. I do have copies here printed. I believe Ms. Fabry also sent you a link because it's a 108-page document, so you can't really email it. So she sent you a link to click on it. But again, if you don't have that, I can provide paper copies. Again, this is in draft form because no vote has been taken yet. So.
We can vote from the list that we have, right?
And the one thing I want to talk to you about the curriculum is that depending on what they move forward with, and we're going to have, I will give you that at the next school committee meeting because we're in the process. We've collected the teacher feedback. We've collected the parent feedback for either the L curriculum or Common Lit 360. They has to go through before the school council at the middle school, and then they're going to bring it forth here at the next school committee meeting. I can tell you that if they go for the Common Lit 360, that is just cheaper. The pricing is cheaper than the L education. And so that number, what you see, which is the 288, it's the higher of the two. It does not necessarily mean that that is the curriculum choice for the teachers and the parents.
Okay. To be determined. Go ahead,
Just
Jerry.
one question with the curriculum. Does this number include any supplemental materials or any service contracts for software, all that kind of stuff,
Yes,
scaffolding?
it includes everything, and it also includes the professional development that will go with it as well, too.
Thank you.
And again, through the chair, Mr. Brooks, that's sort of the initial startup, and then we'll move any of the ongoing costs into the operating budget like we have done for CKLA.
And through the chair, if I could just add, for those of you who did click the link, or like I said, I'll pass around a printed copy. The town has a request cover sheet for every article.
Yeah.
That has been prepared. That has a description, estimated cost, useful life, prioritization, justification, alternatives considered. And then what we've added, or I've added, is a spreadsheet which gives a summary of what's being requested, which also backs up to that total before you get into the backup documents and quotes associated with it. Some have pictures, some don't, just depending on what the article is. But again, the backup documents are extensive as compared to the summary list in front of you.
Could you just make sure that we get the link? I don't recall seeing it.
Just hand those out now.
Is it there?
I'll pass these out. But I believe the link may have been shared at the last meeting, and if I remember, if it's not, I will double check with Ms. Fabry, make sure you have that.
And how many trees did we?
She sent it out on March 13th.
Oh, all right. There's so many that you lose track.
Yep.
Oh, wow, good stuff. Okay, you want to talk about the first one?
Of course.
And do you want us to make a motion first?
Your show, so if you would like to make a motion, that's up to you. If you would like a discussion, then we can do that.
If we follow strict rules, we should have a motion and a second on the floor to discuss it. So,
Motion to approve system-wide curriculum in the amount of $280,840.
Second.
okay, it's been moved and seconded. What would you like to say before we vote? Nothing? Anything?
Again, Lisa's going through an incredibly detailed curriculum adoption process, similar to CKLA. This is the higher of the two, so if parents, teachers choose the lower one, we would have enough room to move forward with a middle school literacy adoption. This reflects the high-quality curriculum materials that the state is asking us to move forward with.
Thank you, Lisa, for the presentation. I thought it was great, and I enjoyed being able to see the materials and listening to the representatives from each curriculum talk about, the highs of their materials. So thank you for putting that on. That was very helpful.
All right, if there are no questions, I'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favor of the new curriculum, grades 6 to 8, cost of $280,840 or less, depending on which one is chosen.
Yes.
Aye.
Okay, and that's 3 yes votes, 300. Next item, Marshall Simon School Plumbing, $605,000 to replace the cooling tower at Marshall Simons.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, now we can talk about it.
Yeah, so the cooling tower was installed in 2004, is the central cooling unit for the whole entire building. We have about 9 split units, whether it's in server rooms or in particular closets, but approximately 95-96% of the building relies on that cooling tower. It's inspected every year, and then there's a deeper inspection that takes place every 3 years, and there's a lot of degradation to the actual interior of the equipment. Again, being 20 years old and the hard Burlington water going through it, you can get through with a little bit of loss, but over time that little bit of loss becomes inefficient. And as you've seen in the past, when the middle school air conditioning goes down, that impacts not only the hot weather months, but our summer programming as well too, which a lot takes place in the middle school. So we'd really like to get ahead of this before it's a failure and actually plan a replacement timely.
Any questions? Comments? Is this something that you would have expected? Is this about the lifetime of the item?
Most HVAC technicians believe it's past its useful life, and but again, because we do our inspections and do look at it, 15 to 20 years is about the time.
Okay. If there are no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 300. Next item, Burlington High School boiler room repairs in the amount of $685,960, and it's to replace the domestic hot water system along with air compressors for the heating system.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion.
Just background, we had initially 3 other high school items on that because we were submitting a statement of interest, we pulled those items just in case we were getting the statement of interest approved and entered into the grant process. The high school has some clear needs in terms of facility. Why we left this one on in my conversations with Bob, and Bob, please correct me, that if we were to, if the domestic hot water system were to fail, then we'd have to shut down that. We wouldn't have heat, right? We'd have to shut down that part of the building depending on the time of year. So we need to keep the building functioning. So this, from my perspective, wasn't cosmetic. It was something that was very preventative moving forward. But at some point, we're spending good money after bad. I'm not sure what my mother would say, but we have to keep the building functioning. The most important instructional day is tomorrow, but clearly these systems at some point would have been addressed and need to be addressed on a larger scale.
Any questions on this?
So Bob, why don't you explain sort of what this actually does, because I'm not doing a good job.
Well, I just wanted to add, right, so when we took off some of the items that were on the initial ask, my pushback was that the ability to get this system is not timely, right? So we can go to the store and buy some electrical parts, some cables, things like that, maybe even a new pump. But we have to source and spec a hot water system, and we're looking at somewhere in the 3 to 4 months range, roughly. Could that be expedited to 2? Sure, right? But that's a big impact for us if we have no system for 2 months. So that's one of the reasons why I pushed to have that. I also want to stress that this is not a boiler. This is not going to all of a sudden fix the HVAC system in the high school, right? When we're in that boiler room, as you remember, there's 3 large boilers. Then we have subsystems in there. This is just one part, which is 2 tanks. It has an expansion tank and it has 2 compressors in it. That runs one part of the system. Yes, it's expensive, but that's what it takes to run a building this large. So a critical need for me to replace this. This is a 2-part system where it has 2 compressors, 2 pumps, 2 tanks. One compressor is already down, and one of the tanks is leaking. So again, there's a need there. Could we limp along? Sure, but again, the risk to it going down, I think, is too much for me to pass by. But again, this is for a domestic hot water system of 2 tanks, an expansion tank, and 2 compressors. That being said, if we were to look at a renovation of the high school, such as the one that was proposed for a town vote, these systems would be compatible and could stay in place. I don't know what the future of the high school is going to look like, but the compressors, the tanks, and the hot water systems themselves don't need to be thrown in the trash if we look at a different avenue. So.
Oh, that's good. Any questions?
No, just a quick statement, though, as we kind of work through this over the next year, year and a half, I think it's kind of important that we as a school committee, and then largely the Burlington High School Committee, looks at how we prioritize these projects over the next 2 or 3 years to get those critical sustainment pieces in place so we can continue to do the work of the committee while we put a new plan together.
Agreed.
Yeah, Bob, is this something that if this passes town meeting, you're going to do it right away? Or are you going to slow walk it, or?
Again, this would be something that I would, July 1, with funding, work with an engineer to put specs together, work with Ms. Kasha to put this out to bid, or the parts that needed to go out to bid, and then we're going to have a wait time as to when this can be delivered and installed. So then we'll have to schedule around the classroom side of it to make sure that we can work on it. So this could be something that happens during the winter break, or it could be something that potentially happens maybe during like February break, but I do not believe this is something that could be completed in summertime.
Okay. Anyone else? Put the motion to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. 300. Next item, security camera replacement upgrades, system-wide replacement and upgrades, $62,824. Replace outdated cameras and install additional cameras throughout the district. Any issue, any questions? Let's have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been moved and
Can I
seconded.
just comment? I think I heard you say 62,824, 64,000. I just want to make sure that correction. Yeah, okay.
64,824.
Yep. I think this one would be the simplest one to explain. The cameras that I'm looking to focus on are at Marshall Simons and Memorial.
Okay.
And those were installed approximately 13 to 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And as you know, technology advances rapidly, so 12 to 13-year-old cameras, you can imagine the coverage, the pictures, et cetera, that come from them. So I'm looking to replace those.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 300. Next item, front vestibule for Pine Glen School, $347,325. Install a vestibule at the main entrance of Pine Glen.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Comments, questions?
This was the part 2. We mentioned this last year. We're in the process of designing and bidding the secure vestibule at Francis Wyman. We told you we would do Pine Glen, so this is the follow-through of phase 2 of providing a secure vestibule. Again, it was mentioned last year. Hopefully you will all approve moving forward with this.
Personally, I think it's very important to have these.
Just one admin discrepancy. Your estimated cost is 96.8, and the total is 347 for the
On the cover sheet,
on the cover sheet.
it says 96,800. And then as we turn the page, it has the correct dollar amount that we
Yeah.
just voted on.
Which one?
Just small clerical error on the front, so.
For which item?
The Pine one.
Vestibule?
Yep.
What's the real number, Bob?
347, 325.
The number I read?
Correct.
Yep.
Sounds more like it.
I would love it.
96 grand.
There you go. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 300. Next item, system-wide vehicle replacement, $82,933. Replace the 2012 district-wide delivery box van. Motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Yes, we must need it if it's from 2012.
Yeah, there's pictures in the backup. The frame is actually rotted in a few places. The vehicle is serviced through the town's highway department, and they are actually making the recommendation that they do not believe it will pass inspection moving forward. It has passed inspection this year, but given the amount of surface rust and so forth on the frame and the overall age and condition of the vehicle, the recommendation would be to replace it.
Okay, questions?
It's a lot of rust.
All those in
The pictures
favor?
really do it justice. Aye.
Aye.
300. School system-wide staff and BHS computer science PC replacement. Wow. $329,244. Purchase staff PCs district-wide and computer science PCs at Burlington High School.
So moved.
Second.
Questions, comments? No? Obviously, you need new computers, right?
Yeah, and I'll just add, this is different than the MacBook refreshment that took place approximately 2.5 years ago, and if my numbers are up,
During
maybe
COVID.
3 years. Correct. After COVID, I'm sorry. We replaced
Right
staff. So in addition to that, we have a percentage of staff that are on PCs, not Macs. We also use them in the computer science classrooms as well, too. So this includes carts, laptops, desktop computers, and the peripherals such as monitors.
Okay, if there are no questions, we'll put it to a vote.
Any 3D
Go ahead.
printers for the robotics team or computer science team?
Not in this request.
We should look at that.
Jeremy.
We should look at that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 300.
I can gladly add it if the committee would like to.
School system-wide field upgrades, $64,350. Engineering feasibility for bathroom field house at Marshall Simons.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, when Bob and I presented to Ways and Means.
minute.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Motion to approve.
Second. Excuse me.
Moved and seconded. Now you can tell us.
Thank you, Madam Chair. When we presented to Ways and Means last year for a bathroom facility at the middle school, basically we pulled it last year because we hadn't finished the design of the fields, and that project, according the feedback we got from Ways and Means is it wasn't far enough along. They did say they would support looking at a bathroom design once we moved further along. We feel like we're at the point now where we can look at placement and some of the other issues. There's going to be lots of children and families participating on a wonderful new field complex, and feel like we should move out of the porta potty era of Burlington at some point. So, Bob, this is just money to design a bathroom facility, not money for the bathroom facility itself. Is that correct?
This is more of a field study, no pun intended, report. So this will look at the existing conditions of the actual playing fields itself. It'll look at the conservation. It'll look at the underground infrastructure, such as plumbing, water, electrical, to make sure that we can make all of those connections. It'll also review using the school department itself as a bathroom facility. It is up the hill, and we are now creating access up the hill to the building. While it may not have the capacity and/or we'd have to work out the hours usage, we're going to compare that in this study to see if it's a cost-saving analysis to look at the two. With the amount of play predicted for the fields, you could look at, based on occupancy, how many bathrooms you would actually need versus what you would like to have, right? So, one is better than none. But if you have a couple hundred people there, then you may want to have somewhere 4 or 5. So there's an actual regulation of what you would need to have if we had permanent seating. Right now, we don't have permanent seating because we don't have the bathroom facility for that. So again, we're going to take a look at all of that and then present that back to this committee to see if there's an avenue in which they wish to pursue.
And my point was this should be expected by Ways and Means because we did mention it last year and pulled it last year.
Okay, any questions? The only thing I would suggest is that right at the beginning, if there's any reason at all to wonder about placement of stuff, please go to conservation. Thanks. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Oh, go ahead.
No, it's fine. No, it makes sense. Sorry, I'm good. I'll vote aye.
Aye, 300. Okay, facilities master plan, system-wide, $96,800. Update the school facilities master plan report.
Sorry.
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
To the chair. So this is also an item that was deferred from last year. We have a 2017 report right now that looks at all of our buildings. It's about 830-page document that reviews our current systems, look at the infrastructure, looks at the structure of the building, makes some recommendations to what the next plan should look like, right? It doesn't go into detail to say replace a carpet, but it gives broader spec as to, some of the systems that need to be replaced, when the roof needs to be replaced, things like that. And we really kind of use that to help form our 5, 10, and 20-year capital plans. Like I said, this was on last year's. It was removed last year. It's definitely a conversation right now with the high school conversation going on continually. I know at our last school committee meeting that we discussed warrant articles, there was a question about Fox Hill being on that. So Fox Hill still is a school and it will be addressed, but we won't put the full amount of effort into Fox Hill as we would the other 5 schools. But again, this is a document that I in the maintenance department rely on and find it extremely valuable. So this is something that I would like to obviously continue to update because systems have changed and things have deteriorated in the past 10 years.
And yeah, and the history was, I think the school committee did one in 2007, 2017, so you're on track. So
Before 2007, we never did one.
no, but I'm saying, I guess in the 10-year capital plan, there should also be, we should also put one of these facilities
Dinosaur.
summaries here. So anyway, so this should also be very predictable to people given the
Do you have any comments?
last track record.
No, just as long as it would be ideal if we could exclude Fox Hill since we're building a new one.
Yeah. My only comment is I'm surprised you want to spend almost $100,000 on this now when there are other things that you want. I'm just surprised, but if that's what you want, I'll support you and I'll vote for it. But I would think that the one from we had one in 2017, I don't know, do you really need a new one?
We've
You
spent
don't
a
have
lot,
to
we've
answer
spent,
that.
well, I think we spent a lot of money between 2017 and 2027, which is what this is for. So I think it will help drive the accuracy of the long-term planning document that we have.
I'm sure it will. And when I think about those documents, because I was a part of both of them, what I remember is we're going to have to replace this school, in this order, and really not much else, but there's probably a lot of detail that you happen to use. And if you want a new one, you'll get my vote.
Well, I was going to add selfishly, right, a lot of these requests will impact the greater community, the teachers, the students, et cetera. This is one that would help myself and my department dearly, which would, like I said, it would just be a benefit to us, which again would hopefully turn around and impact the 10-year plan. So then I'd be able to give you accurate information. And like I said, just having that, it's come up more than you can imagine. It's helped in the MSBA planning process. It's helped in, all of our statement of
Maybe
interest.
it'll help with the high school.
Well, we can't turn around and change the data that's there, right? So, I mean, we all know the conditions of the buildings just by walking through them, but really being able to have a repository of where all of that is super useful, not just to myself.
I think it'll be helpful to find a solution for our softball fields, too. I know they're not the greatest for playing condition. They're often wet. So I'm really hoping that we can find a solution for a space for those young ladies, because I look at the field at at Francis Wyman, and it's beautiful. And I want to make sure that our girls are playing on fields that are comparable to the fields that our boys are playing on.
Does this cover fields?
If I could add, so it will higher level, so it will review, but it's not going to tell us the groundwater content of the fields and recommend where we should put a new field. We do have a field 10-year plan that dives deeper into that specifically. Also about an 800-page document that's available on our website. I can share that with you as well too. But that's something that also, as part of the request, when you see field upgrades, working with the recreation department, there's some priorities, one being the high school field, which took place, two being the Francis Wyman baseball field. Now we're looking at the middle school complex. Marvin and Rotary are up next.
Was that softball?
Marvin and Rotary is typically where we hold softball, yes.
I also think being able to have the field someplace where there's bathrooms nearby, or where we can place a field where we have facilities like the ones that we're looking at putting into Marshall Simons that are accessible, maybe even Fox Hill. That building is meant to have community space, but when we're looking at our buildings, we also can decide what we're going to do with the outside space as well. Match that with the needs coming from the field plan is kind of my point. Thank you.
Again, please, if I could add, I actually appreciate that comment a lot. Thank you. That was the impetus behind the request last year for the bathrooms at Marshall Simons. We did take a step back, and now you're seeing the request, like I said, to fund the study for it. But one of the glaring concerns of our fields is the lack of facilities, not just bathrooms, but washing hands, et cetera. They're just not there. Yeah, the buildings are sometimes in proximity, but depending on hours, they're not open. On weekends, they're not open, et cetera. Sure, if we could have a lot more of these higher conversations, we could definitely build these into the plans, but sometimes right now we're looking at simply just upgrading or replacing the field, and then also having the conversations about facilities as well too. So
Yeah, I think they go together. So
I don't disagree.
part of my,
They should go
Don't disagree.
like,
Yeah.
they will.
I don't disagree.
And Marvin and Rhodey are on the Recreation Department's radar and being actively discussed. Overlook Park is in progress right now, and that's the next project we're looking to tackle.
Will they have bathrooms in the plans?
I can't speak for the committee as a whole. I would sure hope they do, but again, it's one of the things we're going to look at as we start to scope out and plan.
Okay. All right, if there's no further discussion, we'll put the motion to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 300.
Through the chair, Bob, just one thing. You said the guideline we got was 2.8,
$8 million.
and we're coming in at 2.56 essentially.
Yeah, about 2.62.
And we pulled other high school-focused warrants. And so Mr. Middleton mentioned there was one to do some upgrades to the auditorium that we pulled. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, I'm just trying
You
to pull
mentioned the
it.
sound system. Is that the one you're referring
I
to?
think it was a part of that one was the sound system.
Correct. So the original warrant article for that was about $400,000. What he's asking for is about $50,000 for the audio system, just for the microphones themselves, the wireless mics. And I do have a copy of that, just so I can double check and make sure that number is accurate.
Yeah, his document he gave us said 54,000 and change for all the wireless microphones and receivers, and looks like it's a full replacement of all the wireless infrastructure.
Are you suggesting adding that into what we've already done?
I don't know enough about it, and the first time I'm seeing it, but I'm saying it may be something that you want to see next meeting for us to maybe prepare a little bit more information on. I don't know if the microphones are failing. I know they're important for us to use, again, for lots of different reasons, but town meeting would be certainly one of them, and
Yeah, I
Never mind
definitely
the
need more
musicals,
information
never-
before I'm ready to
Oh, I'm
vote
sorry.
on that one.
I'm
I
sorry.
definitely need more information, just understanding exactly what it's replacing, yeah.
100%, but again, we pulled all of the other high school and the power things, but again, that would certainly be up to the committee. And I don't have any problem going in with what we have, which is below the guideline we had, because again, it's really the high school that is causing, we could spend all 2.8 million on just this building. So it's one of those things where I think we have to be careful, but if we bring you more information, is that too late for us, Bob? I'm just trying to think.
It's not too late. We haven't set up meetings yet with capital budget and/or Ways and Means, but
When does the warrant close?
March 27th. Don't quote me on that. I'll find that out for you, but
But we have a meeting before that.
24th, yeah, next Tuesday.
Okay.
But I guess I want to know, like, if they're imminent failure, I don't want to sort of run through.
again, I can add through the chair. This was part of the initial request, in addition to curtain replacement and lighting controls, and then rigging as well, too, for the lighting. I know working with Mr. Middleton, the wireless mics themselves, and you all have attended town meetings, so you're aware that they're staticky and they're not reliable at best. But it's not just the 4 or 5 handheld mics, it's also the lapel mics and so forth that the actors wear as well when they're on stage. And it's a box similar to one on the wall, of course, a little bit smaller and different components inside. So when we say the wireless infrastructure, not for a laptop to connect to, but really for the system to be able to control and detect the wireless microphones throughout the auditorium, and then send them back through the sound system to BCAT, to the recording track. So again, if the committee did have some questions, I'm sure Mr. Middleton or myself could definitely provide those, but like I said, this whole warrant article was approximately $400,000, and that was pulled off the list completely because it was a high school request.
How about if
Not because it had no merit. Sorry to interrupt.
How about if you prepare a recommendation on this one item for the next meeting, and we can discuss it, and if we want to, we can vote on it. I don't think anybody right now has enough information to decide. The only thing I would say is that I don't know if it's me or if it's the microphones, but I have a great deal of trouble understanding what people are saying through those microphones. I look around like, are they all hearing all this and getting the words? Because I don't.
I think there are a few town meeting members who would agree with you.
Yeah.
Great.
I have a lot of trouble understanding people using them.
Well,
So-
thank you. I will do that. I'll work with Mr. Middleton. And if I could just add, there is the community custodial as well, too, which I would like this committee to discuss.
We should vote on that now, right?
Motion to approve the system-wide community custodial for $74,783.
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
I think Ms. Kasha has
We
it.
all know what that
Question.
is. What?
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
Okay. Bob, did you rework like the number of hours that people were getting? It just looks like in FY '25, we had appropriated like 51,000, and this is like a 45% increase.
So in '25, you presented the committee with new rates for the custodial and the overtime. The '26 request for community custodial reflects those rates. This is a copy of 2026, so there is no increase to that.
Okay.
We good?
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, any discussion?
Just
Go ahead.
Just had that question. So I was just going to cover hours for youth sports, and because I know there's been growing demand between extracurricular activities and all that. Do we think it's going to adequately fund that? Because before, it's been, as teams get to championship seasons, we've had to kind of pick and choose stuff. So I just wanted to know if think we're good on the hours that we've budgeted for.
I think historically we've been good, and by that I mean I think as we see higher performing teams, we will see that some teams need additional hours, and some teams may not use all of their hours, so which is why we give an estimate as to what the teams expect to use. There's also a miscellaneous category in there as well, too, exactly for this. So there is definitely a possibility that some teams may get to the end of their available hours. But that's kind of the goal, right, is to be able to use all those hours, and then if that becomes the new norm, then we'll look to adjust those. So.
Okay, put the motion to a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. 300. Is that it on the warrant articles now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, moving to the next item, Fox Hill School Building Committee.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Because Ms. Massardo was not here, I'll just remind everybody that there is a parent meeting at Fox Hill tomorrow night in the cafeteria between 6:30 and 7:30. We're asking that parents RSVP on Parent Square, so we will send out the invitation again, just so we have a rough estimate of people. Obviously, you can attend even if you don't respond on Parent Square, but we would like to. There's no child care will be provided, so this is meant to be sort of a parental conversation. We're going to go over some of the timelines and the transition, and again, the project is slated to begin over April break, so it's coming up in a matter of weeks. So our intention is to have as many conversations as sort of we need to moving forward, but there'll be, again, a conversation on the project and the phasing tomorrow night in the Fox Hill cafeteria between 6:30 and 7:30 p.m.
Okay. The high school building committee.
Again,
Go ahead.
because Mrs. Bond isn't here, Bob, you can help me out. The next Burlington High School Building Committee is going to be on Thursday, the 26th, at 6:30, again, in this room. We want to thank Dr. Chen. She's being flexible. She had the room reserved, but because of the hybrid nature of the High School Building Committee, she has generously moved her Wellness Committee to the guidance office. So again, we'll be meeting here. The agenda is basically going to be for us to continue to work on and complete the statement of interest, which is due in the middle of April. You will be seeing an agenda item because this committee and the select board need to approve the statement of interest, the language from the state, prior to moving forward. So it'll be on, Bob, either the 24th agenda or on the first meeting in April before we have to submit.
When's the due date?
Due date is April 17th or something?
Yes, April 17th is the due date for the statement of interest.
And again, I want to give Bob a lot of credit first. He's been spending a lot of time on the document. I've been reviewing it. I've seen Neil on there, and we have some folks who've been really contributing a lot on the committee. So that is something that all committee members have access to. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yep.
So if you want to put in comments, please put in some comments. We're trying to incorporate everybody's comments. And then we'll be asking the select board, the committee, to move forward, and we have every intention of meeting the deadline of April 17th and submitting our next attempt at our high school statement of interest.
Any discussion on that? I have a personal request.
Sure.
I hate to take things down to the wire. Like, it just makes me nervous.
Okay.
Can we try to do it at the next school committee meeting?
Yes.
Well, no, that's before the building committee meeting.
Again, I think all you would be doing would be
Reading
that we're in the process. You wouldn't be approving the
But we
statement
have
of
to read
interest.
those specific words, don't we?
Yes, so we can get you
If
that.
we're able to do it at the next meeting, could we please just to have it under our belt?
Yes.
Okay. If there's nothing else on the, and Mrs. Bond asked me to mention that if there's anyone out there listening, that we would like more people to come and be part of the high school discussion building committee. If anyone wants to join, please let her know, and you'd be very welcome. Next item is the facilities update. Bob?
Sorry, I was looking at something.
That's all right. Is there anything to update us on?
Nothing new that I haven't already mentioned, I believe, just in regards to the failed memorial generator. Ms. Kasha helped put that out to bid. We're looking to replace that as soon as possible. Right now, there's a temporary generator on site providing backup services to the building. We are renting that from a company, and like I said, we hope we can replace that soon. That would have been a request in front of you all that would have went to town meeting had it been supported by you all, but that was pulled just for the need to do it now.
And again, through the chair, Chair Gordon has been assisting us. I think there may be a supplemental allocation from the state, and we did mention the loss of the generator as a safety issue for us and as a priority that would impact our operating budget. So again, Chair Gordon does want to come to the 24th meeting at the top of the agenda because he wants to see you all in person, and he wants to take a picture, and because of the MASC award, we did that remotely. So
Yes.
he will be here.
Great.
If we hear about that, then we can mention that next week.
Okay.
Transportation.
Yeah, transportation update, anything there?
Nothing
Right.
new right now.
Jeremy, you good?
Good.
New or old business, anyone have anything? If not,
Motion to approve, motion to adjourn.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, 300. And good night, everyone.